What's up, guys? We're Morbid Curiosities, bringing y'all another episode. I'm Nicholas Ewers, and with me is the lightweight champion of the world, the morbid mistress of mayhem herself.
Mercedes Martinez. We are covering the entire Child's Play franchise, starting from the initial movie Child's Play, and we're just going down the line. And today we are at Curse of Chucky.
So, spoilers ahead, full spoilers ahead. I'm glad we're getting right into it. You had mentioned before, I'm pretty sure you said it on mic, that you love this movie.
I did.
Love is a very strong word. Explain yourself. That's the word you would use to describe your feelings for your husband, right?
That is very true. Yes. I
How would you rank your husband in Curse of Chucky?
It depends on the day. It depends on my mood. It depends
Wow.
on if he did the
Oh, wow.
dishes. No, I'm
Ooh,
playing.
call back to Bride of Chucky.
I know. Yeah, if you haven't checked out that episode, everyone go check it out before you listen to this one. But I would say on a solid day, he ranks maybe 2 notches above Curse of Chucky.
Mm. That's pretty high. That's pretty high.
It is. It's very high. I still have love for this movie, but I want to hear what you thought of this movie since it was your first time watching it. And I pretty much set some expectations for you, and I was worried that those were just going to crumble down. But yeah, tell me what you thought.
Before I fully get into my thoughts, I want to say, guys, if you haven't seen this movie and you've been keeping up with our podcast or are watching these movies, if you're checking these out just like spoiler free, or like, if you're checking these out and just fully getting spoiled by everything we're saying, this one in particular, go watch it first. This movie is, I don't want to give away what happens at the end yet. I'm going to hold off on all of that. But this movie rewards you as a fan of the franchise. And I've got to say, too, going into these, I expected most of these movies to be pretty, like, hit or miss. And so far, we've only hit one bad movie, and that's Child's Play 3, in my opinion. I kind of expected these last two, like, main storyline Chucky movies to really falter, but Curse of Chucky, in my opinion, is like, it, it's up there with the best. It really works. It pulls off everything it is trying to do. I'm gonna use the L word too. I like kind of love this movie. Um, I like it more than Seed of Chucky. It's really wrapping up this whole Child's Play and Chucky journey that we've been on, and I feel so satisfied and things are feeling good. I really enjoyed this movie. I can't find the words necessary to adequately compliment it, but I thought this movie was great. I thought it was a blast. It makes you question its relationship to the previous movies as you're watching it for the first time. I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed everything it was giving me as a fan. I enjoyed the scares, I enjoyed the deaths. And even for like as flat as these characters tend to be in these movies, I like have grown to really like these characters in this movie. I've watched it twice, and the second time around I didn't get as much enjoyment out of it as the first time around, and that's just because the first one packs so much in there that like it, especially as you get to the end, it's like boom boom boom, you're just getting hit after hit of like what the fuck. And so like yeah, of course the second viewing like for me wasn't going to live up to it, but I still like really really dug this movie, everything it was doing. I have a few complaints, as I always do, but i I liked this movie a lot.
There's no pleasing you. That's all I heard out of all of that. You have complaints on this movie. That is
Hmm.
all I heard.
I know I'm a real fucking bitch sometimes.
I mean, it's okay because A few complaints as well, I would say, even though I do love this film. So, again, spoilers ahead for the movie. So as you were saying, it's the storyline is different from Seed of Chucky. You know, you're introduced to this mom and daughter, and the daughter is Fiona Dorff, Brad Dourif's daughter, and that was such a great pick, honestly.
Hmm.
I think a lot of people were a little skeptical on her just because of the fact that she was Brad Dourif's daughter. They didn't know if it was, and I could be saying this wrong, but they didn't know if it was really based on favoritism or if she was actually a good fit for the role. And she fucking nailed this role so well. Plus she is beautiful. But anyway, she's in a wheelchair. What is that term called?
Paraplegic.
Yeah. She is in a wheelchair. So I thought that was cool how our leading role was paraplegic, right?
Yeah, paraplegic. It
Okay.
can be a bit of a tongue twister.
I just can't talk, as everyone knows. But yeah, I that was a cool way to go because you can tell that she's gonna be our leading girl here, but she is at a disadvantage.
Don Mancini actually commented on the wheelchair thing. The reason he picked that was because people, I guess, always made complaints like, why is Chucky scary? You can just kick him. Like, why doesn't anybody
mm,
just kick him? But
mhm.
he was like, if I make the character paraplegic, that gets rid of that. That like puts this character in like so much more peril.
Definitely. It just makes a movie even more uncomfortable for you because now you're just thinking, okay, what situation is she going to fall in with Chucky? You see that, you know, the mom in here, she isn't the greatest person in the world. The UPS or knockoff UPS guy is clearly hitting on Fiona Dora. Her name is Nika in here, and the mom is just flat out saying, like, oh, he was just being nice to you because you're in a wheelchair.
Oh, he was like so like almost like grossly like hitting on her,
Hmm.
where he's
He
like,
was. That was like a porn type of intro.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, when he was like, "Your mom's here," pff, lame. I was like,
Right.
"What the fuck?" Like, dude, that's you're such a creep. You're like,
I mean, but if
it's
you
just
looked at
weird.
Nika's her reaction and her facial expression, she was for it. She was wishing her mom wasn't home.
I know, and again, he wasn't. No offense to the actor, not cool or good looking enough for Fiona Dorff. I mean, I
I agree.
yeah,
She deserves higher than that.
yeah, this woman is incredible. I'm not gonna be weird, but I'm gonna be weird on mic.
You're like, I should have been the one playing the UPS guy knockoff.
Oh yeah, I would have done a killer job as guy number one. One of the
You would have
first
done it
guys you see in the
justice.
movie. Yeah, I would have.
Mhm.
It would have been a real Jeff Goldblum in Jurassic Park situation where it's like this guy's too good. We've got to like keep him in the movie. Like, can we write him more of this guy? Do they need another package?
I know. It was such a funny setup. Just adding a tiny bit of humor in there. And then what do you know? Here comes Chucky in this package. And what do you think of Chucky's little makeover look in here? Did you like it? Did you not like it?
I dig it, especially for like plot reasons. His look makes more sense, so I can be more forgiving of it if I did have any complaints. But I did like it kinda. I liked how like from certain angles he had like duck lips almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he was like very pale and strange looking. He looked creepier. I believed it as almost like this modern re-release of this old 80s doll that they were trying to put out because they modernize everything and everyone always complains like, why does it look ugly now? And
Yeah.
that's kind of what I was thinking with Chucky in this one. Like, I'm surprised someone didn't say that. It would have felt really like real. Maybe like offensive to the animatronic guys and the puppeteers who created it, but they should have had someone be like, because they mentioned that the good guy dolls are from the 80s. He should have been like, oh, why did they change the look? It looks weird now. Like,
Yeah, I actually had my husband watch this with me, and he hates the way Chucky looks in here. He absolutely hates it. He kept talking so much shit like why does his face look like that? Or I was even saying like, yeah, his face looks a little sunken in. There are some angles that I did like, when not to jump too far ahead, but there's a part where the niece in here named Alice, she is hugging the doll and you see Chucky's eyes dilate. At that moment, I kind of liked the way he looked in there, but for the rest of it, where he looks like just a normal doll, not really a fan.
you're not a fan of his look?
No, not really until the end. And then even with the end, I have some competing opinions on that too.
Yeah, I get you. I don't think I've had real any I mean, I did find his look in Bride of Chucky and Seed of Chucky absolutely disgusting, but it's become effectively iconic and it just like rules. I totally understand having complaints about his look in this movie, slightly altering, honestly, like both versions of the Chucky that we've grown to know, the Chucky we love, the Charles. Um, no, I got to separate the two for this movie. Um, but this movie in particular, wink wink. But I I did really enjoy the look. I don't know if it's better, but I like how different it looks. It's better than I think most of the changes that have been done to Michael Myers and later Halloween sequels, I'd say.
Do we have to compare the two right now?
Are you a fan of
Let's.
the Michael changes? I will.
Oh
I
God,
appreciate
no!
every Michael mask for what it is and what they've
Not
grown to
every
be.
Michael mask. No,
Everyone, I appreciate them for what the reputation they've grown to bear of how bad they are.
I don't know if we can be friends anymore after that comment.
You gotta like something that sucks sometimes.
Sometimes, not all the time.
I'm very forgiving of it when it comes to horror, I guess.
I know your favorite movie was or is Seed of Chucky or was Seed of Chucky. I don't know if this one ranks a little higher than that now.
Seed Seed wasn't my favorite. It's up
It
there though.
was your
Um
favorite. It was pretty much your favorite. You were having such a good time with it.
I was. That movie's up there though. This movie really throws off my ranking and is really making me question the ranking of every movie list I've ever made, to be honest. I'm going back and reevaluating like wow, how did I rank the movies of 2016? I got to change this up. You know,
Hmm.
even though this movie came out in 2013, I also had to change up that list a little bit too.
This movie does that to you. But
It really
yeah, when you
curses you.
I like that pun in there. I love it. Yeah, going forward, you bring in the first murder. So you have Nika, she finds her mother dead downstairs. You see the fake blood. Well, obviously we know it's fake, but just seeing Nika's reflection in it, so beautiful. I love when blood in movies looks very fake. It reminds me of Sweeney Todd and how bright that blood was. It just looks like hot sauce to me. So
Hmm.
I don't know. I think that's a charming little effect in there.
Yeah, I want to say they didn't talk about it in the commentary. I'm pretty sure if I had to guess, I would say it was maybe like CGI or a mixture of like practical blood with CGI. They definitely need to use some CGI to get Nika's reflection in there. But
Hmm.
yeah, I thought it was a really like effective. kill. You don't see what happens, but the scream actually, like, if I remember correctly, my first time watching it a couple days ago, like I jumped a little bit. These movies have kind of been getting my heart rate elevated, like when we're not in the comedy ones. All like the horror ones except for Child's Play 3 have
Mhm.
been creating some tension.
Even with just the house in general, I know even the outside look of it was CGI, but the house being as old as it is and in that type of style, I don't know how you would describe the style of the house, but it's you could see, some of it is kind of, I would say, rotting on the inside. Looking at like their fireplace or entertainment center part in their living room, a lot of the paint was chipping away, but I still like the way the house looks. That was such a beautiful home. I wish I could live in a huge house like that. Dream home.
It's a nice like fixer upper type of house.
Yeah.
I've seen a house that big, not necessarily, or actually bigger, but not necessarily that same style. And it was the same deal. It was a friend's family. They bought the house and they were just, giant house, really run down, making it look nice so they could sell it. And I don't know if that was the full intention for this house. I know once the mom kicks it, the sister mentioned something about financial troubles. We can get into that when we get to that part. But yeah, this would be like a pretty nice buy as long as it wasn't like a financial nightmare fixing it up.
I mean, not anymore when you got the the line of death, the death count in this house now.
Yeah, it's the murder house now. The fucking
Exactly.
crazy wheelchair lady murdered
Hmm.
everybody in that house. That's the yarn all the neighborhood kids are gonna spin. There's actually no neighborhood that they're in. That's
Right.
why the house is CGI actually. I guess there were a bunch of houses around it. And when
Mm.
they get that first shot that we're seeing, they needed to just do a full CGI house because they couldn't, they wanted to make it look like it was alone in the woods.
Ooh, I like that fact. I like that detail. That made just the house being secluded for this movie really amped up the intensity here. But yeah, you after the mom dies, the next day, Nika's sister
Well,
Barbara, who
before we get into the next day, I have to talk about the opening credits of this movie.
oh, okay.
We've managed to do that on like I think every episode too. These movies have opening credits that are like so worth discussing. Except for Child's Play 3, that one all around just sucks. I guess it doesn't
Yeah,
have
it really
anything
does.
cool going for it. But I fucking this is when I fell in love with this movie. These opening credits, I rewound them over and over. It's so beautiful. God damn it. Like Don Mancini is growing into like a really cool director over the course of these films, but after like the mom's body's found, the camera is focusing on Nika and starts to pull away, and as it's pulling away, it reveals a Chucky doll sitting there on like a little rocking chair, and Curse comes is like floating right there. And I I don't know if they had the actual words curse floating, or if it was like not floating but like strung up somewhere, or if they were just CGI, but it says curse and then of Chucky pops up. And then the camera just rotates and rotates around Chucky as it's going from daylight, and you're seeing like the police interviewing Nika in the background and taking the mom's body as like the the score just ramps up. I fucking like these are my favorite opening credits of the whole series. It's so strong, and just I had to take the time like while we were still at this section to call out how much I love them, and it like brought me so much delight. I want to like make a list of my favorite opening credit sequences, and if I did Curse of Chucky would be right up there. It like surprised me, and I was like when I saw them, I was just like, God, I hope this movie is good. um, and it turns out it was, yeah. Um, but yeah, go on. I just had to really take the time to shout out how well done those were. Shout out to Don Mancini.
I mean, even with just kind of the rotating effect that they are doing with the camera, you do see that come back a lot in later scenes of the movie. Going into their dinner scene, even just around Chucky himself, and then Nika. So the rotating, it does have a nice little feel to it because it just, I don't know, the perspective of it, it looks a lot nicer, and it's still everything that they do in this film. It's just an uneasy type of feeling you experience.
Yeah, that a lot of good use of rotation, a lot of good use of overhead. That Don Mancini guy, he knows where to put the camera.
Yeah, and I mean, he has to. A lot of his angles have to be with a doll and trying
Hmm.
to make the doll look threatening. Even with a kid looking scared, I notice a lot of the angles are just angled down and starting from down up, like looking upward at a kid. Whereas the kid, they're actually looking up at adults. So, um, but yeah, I just noticed that a lot in
Hmm.
this film. But going forward, you after the death scene of the mom, they bring in Nika's sister Barbara, who also has a priest with her. And you do see she obviously is sad about their mother's death, but then you start to pick up on some strange feelings that she is experiencing about Nika, about the mom, about the house. And then in comes in her husband Ian, their blonde ginger looking kid, just because of all of her freckles, Alice,
Yeah.
and then Jill, the awkward looking nanny, who Jill, Jill Barbara introduces very affectionately. She just kind of grabs her shoulder like, oh, this is my au pair. um and she didn't even really do that with her husband. I thought that was funny.
Yeah, I found Jill to be a pretty annoying character overall. Her involvement with the movie, her, I mean, spoilers, she dies. Um, her death I didn't love. We could have got Jill out of this thing. That was the thing I
Yeah.
thought at the scene. I was like, God, we're introducing like fucking six characters right now, like five or six all at once. I was like, this is
Hmm.
too many. Like we gotta. I know it's a horror movie and they're gonna get killed, but I'm like, we gotta start getting some of these guys out of here.
Yeah, even me kind of breaking it down right now, I was just thinking, wow, that was one too many people to have to break down right now. That was a little excessive right there.
You're like, all right, a sister, a brother-in-law, a niece, a priest, all walk into the room. It sounds like the setup to like a joke almost.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, you start to see how their dynamic is. Barbara is complaining more so about financial struggles with her little family and wants to sell the house, pretty much toss Nika in an assisted living home and just take whatever her share of the money would be, and live happily ever after with her life. And that's just so upsetting because you're just telling your sister, another human, yeah, this is what we're going to do. Screw how you feel, screw the fact that this is your home, we need money, let's go. Like, it's kind of like my way or no way. I hated Barbara so much. I can't stand her.
Yeah, Barbara, we often have the conversation, do they deserve it? And before we get to that part of the movie, I'll just say yes before we even talk about it. We'll get to that later, but they deserve it.
Hmm. Because even with introducing all the characters at once, or at least a good chunk of the characters at once like that, you don't get too much of a point to really know them or like them for that matter. The only person you really like is Nika's character. And everyone else, all of the side characters, I don't know, to me they kind of suck.
I grew to like Ian at a certain point. There's a line he says that really made me love him where this is later in the movie, but Nika is like, and watch out for Chucky. And he's like, what the fuck are you talking about? And I'm like, oh yeah, he's just living his own movie over there
Mhm.
that like we're not watching. He's not really
He's
living
so
what we're
oblivious.
living.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I really like that's when I grew to like him. I was like, yeah, this guy's just doing his own thing.
Yeah, I mean, he's okay as you watch the film go and you see he's not a complete idiot. He does have some redeeming points in here. But for the most part, every other character in here kind of sucks.
Yeah, Alice, and no offense to the at the time little girl who played her. I I'm very she'll fall into the annoying kid category in these movies. You know, there's a lot of kid actors in movies, and when a kid actor's in a movie, you really have to decide if you find them annoying or not. That seems to, at
Mhm.
least for me, I always have to face the fact that fuck, I find this kid really annoying, and they're in this whole movie. But luckily we don't get a whole lot of Alice. The movie kind of just drops her at a certain point. But one thing I did kind of like is after these characters get introduced, Alice quickly goes into the bathroom. I guess I didn't like this per se, but I just thought Chucky was a total fucking creep just being in the bathroom behind like a curtain, especially like it's like you're just listening to people pee. Like how old are you at this point? Like 50, 60, Charles, in that body?
Yeah. I
That's
guess he was trying to just catch her at a point where she was most vulnerable, but he could have gone any other route aside from the bathroom. Bathroom time is private time. You don't invade that private space.
yeah, I'd be like I'm not taking this fucking nasty ass toy out of here. Why is it in the bathroom
Exactly.
anyway? What's it doing in here to begin with?
And all the doors have locks on them.
Yeah, two adults live here. Who's playing with a toy in the bathroom?
Yeah, that was a little strange. And then after all the awkwardness of establishing all these side characters, they jump into the dinner scene where, Nika and Alice, they just put together the comfort food of chili to feed everybody.
It's a very lazy dish, I thought.
It was. I know people typically eat that just during the cold months where they can just throw shit together and call it a day. It was just funny. Those bowls were so tiny, and then they have the rotating effect again at the dinner scene because they're trying to throw you off. Chucky throws some rat poison in. He was planning on doing it, I'm assuming, in all of the bowls, but he only manages to do it in one. So once they place the bowls everywhere, they're just trying to confuse you, so you don't know who's gonna die. And then you have the suspense of just everyone eating until they finally get the victim.
Do you think that he actually wanted to poison everybody, or do you think he was trying to make it a game of who's going to get the poison?
Maybe he would have wanted to do a few of them. He clearly was startled when Nika almost caught him or went back into the kitchen. So, um, and I mean, the amount that he poured in there was enough to kill someone. So he could have went bowl to bowl already at that point. But I don't know. I feel like he would have tried to poison a few of them. But, I could be wrong. He probably just wanted to make a game out of it too.
The language of the movie, I think, makes it clear that he probably would have poisoned all of them, but I just like to believe that uh, he's about the theatrics at this point. he he really likes to make a game of it since he reconnected with Tiffany.
Yeah, maybe.
But then, I mean, we'll get into all of that stuff too, because this movie recontextualizes a couple things.
Yeah, you have the poor priest. I felt bad just right when he starts sweating a little bit. Just the look on his face.
Mhm.
I was wondering, does he know he's about to die? Does he know something's happening? I believe that he knew something was wrong. He already had some weird suspicion about the doll anyway. Probably just thought that the doll was evil. And then they fucking cut to him basically being involved in a car crash, and his head was decapitated after they removed a shard of the car that slammed into him. That was just an insane death scene. Ugh, it was gross to watch.
Yeah, I didn't really love his death scene that much. I didn't I was kind of annoyed with this character in general. I was like, okay, bringing in a priest, that feels like a big cliche of a horror film. And then when he starts to seem suspicious, I was like, okay, I'm getting on his side a little bit more. When he's the guy who gets poisoned, I was like, what I want to see him do is be like, okay, something is going on. I wanted to see him like make himself throw up or something, and then really go like, okay, I'm going to get to the bottom of this and really have a guy who's like, have a guy who really on the outside looking in is just like, there's something up with that doll and I'm going to figure out what. And the movie doesn't do any of that. He eats the poison, gets in a car accident, yeah, gets decapitated because the police officer like moves a part of a car that like another guy's like, you're not allowed to do that. A lot of these movies have like police officers with me being like, is this allowed?" Like, wouldn't you get in trouble for this? Mostly in these Child's Play movies, actually.
Yeah, now that you're saying all of that, because I didn't mind the fact that they brought in a priest in here. I really didn't have an issue with his character. But yeah, it is kind of a bummer seeing that he did have some suspicions on Chucky, and just he was just a quiet side character, just some type of, that good presence in the house. And then, okay, things are going to go terribly wrong because he's the first victim. He's the one that ate the poison.
But his character has just like no effect on the plot at all. It
Yeah, so it was just a body count in here.
Yeah, because he doesn't even get the police officer to really take action in any kind of way. I mean, the officer is like his sponsor. I'm sure if they did like an autopsy, they would probably find like some type of poison in his body because they, had questions on whether he was drinking or not. So they would need to do some kind of like tests, I assume. And I mean, there's a deleted scene with the police officer that explains like why he shows up at the end of the movie, but it's not related to the priest at all. So this character has, I think, zero actual effect on the plot, and that kind of annoys me. He's just there for the kill, and honestly, these movies are sometimes operating at a level. I feel like they would be better received and thought of in a better light if they did really like thoughtfully think about every character and make every character have a purpose in the movie and not just be there for the kills.
Yeah, true. I don't know. Maybe the idea of, killing the mom at first, okay, that's going to suck because no one wants to lose like that comforting feeling of your mother, even though, or not feeling, just that comforting person that is your mother, even though her and Nika didn't have the best relationship, and then they go off and kill a priest. That way it can kind of feel, I keep um defaulting to the word uneasy, but it goes into him just killing a priest. Okay, they killed the only good thing that could have potentially, quote unquote, saved them at that point. Or I could just be overthinking this too much. So, yeah, don't listen to me.
No, I don't think you're overthinking at all. This is we're here to overthink these movies.
I feel like we're really dissecting this one. So hopefully people are still listening and they're, engaged with this episode.
People are loving it. We're finally giving Curse of Chucky the treatment that it deserves. After 12 years, people are finally talking about it.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah,
um,
Don Mancini's happy. Even though I
exactly.
haven't always had the nicest things to say about his writing, I hope he understands if he's listening, and we know that he is. Um, he's always listening, but I hope that he understands that at this point, I'm a full-on fan of him and the work that he does in these movies. Um, I think these things are fucking great. But yeah, we can get this plot a rolling on.
So once everyone's kind of settled in, Alice is playing around with Chucky. Apparently, this little shit's playing hide and seek with her, and then while Jill goes about looking for Chucky, you find out that, or the whole beginning of the movie, you are under the assumption that the husband Ian has a thing for Jill and there might be a little love affair going on there. But then turn of events happen and then you see that it's not Ian having an affair, it's Barbara having an affair with Jill. So that was a funny little spin there. And again, the more I watch these films, the more I do see Don Mancini inserting more of, his likes and preferences into it, because when I first watched this when it came out, I was thinking, I didn't know Don Mancini was gay at the time. So when I watched it, I was just thinking, what point does this have in the movie? Like I didn't get it, but just seeing how each one now has some type of homosexual detail in there, it was a cool giveaway now. So that I don't know, that really threw me off seeing it. That was so random in my opinion because I didn't expect that.
And Barb is doing a fucking terrible job at hiding this affair too. We'll get into that a little later too. I know I keep saying we'll get into that. We're gonna get into all of this stuff, guys. But this like game of hide and seek that the nanny is playing with him, I want to say is like intercut with Ian and Nika watching home video footage too. And
Hmm.
while they're watching the home video footage, that's where we get the reveal of our good old pal Charles. Ooh, I saw him. I was like, that's Brad Dourif right away. I saw him too
Hmm.
in Lord of the Rings: The Two Towers yesterday. I've been watching those, and right when he popped up, I'm like, that's Brad Dourif. I saw his face yesterday in Curse of Chucky. I'm like, I'm seeing a lot of Brad Dourif's face lately. You don't really, get that. I've mostly been hearing his voice over these
Hmm.
past couple of months. But yeah, I got like kind of excited. I was like, what is this movie doing? It got me like pretty pumped because I was finding myself like questioning at first. I was like, so is this a reboot? Is this a sequel? Like, what is its relationship to these other movies? And seeing Charles Lee Ray pop up, I was just like, okay, this movie's doing something cool. I see you, Don Mancini. You're trying to butter me up.
Yeah, they that threw me off too. Just seeing him in a home video, like what are we doing here? I don't know. I thought that was a strange scene to have, but I mean, it gives you some context. You see that he was familiar with their mother and then with Barbara as a daughter or as a kid, and Nika isn't born yet. The mom is pregnant with her. So you kind of have Nika suspecting something about this random guy. And so she goes to investigate and try to figure out who this guy is. So she's spending a however long, maybe like 10, 15 minutes figuring out who this guy is.
Yeah, it really pulls her away from the movie for a while, but this is where, because it was losing the pacing, I started to really not love how slow it was getting when they
Hmm.
were doing the hide and seek stuff and the home footage stuff. And But at this moment, when Nika's doing her research, it's also being crosscut, I think, with Allison under the blanket with Chucky. But man, the research was getting me pumped. I love a good person at a computer looking shit up.
I just love seeing, the little articles of Andy come up and then
I
how it
know.
said like Kent Academy, all those little details. I loved it.
Yes, this movie is hitting buttons. This movie was working for me. Like with all of it. The more it was like tying into Child's Play, even though like you know that it's got Chucky's name in it, so you know it's a part of these movies. Like the movie doesn't necessarily like exclaim that it's a part of the same continuity that we've been watching. But yeah, the more it's like tying things around and acknowledging. I'm like, I love that we're acknowledging these movies because like Seed and Bride didn't really spend any time acknowledging. I mean, Chucky's been through a lot and he doesn't talk about it.
Yeah, it was just a completely different storyline. It was funny. And back to what you said with Barbara just not hiding her affair to start off. She's full on making out with Jill in the kitchen.
Yeah,
And it's like, okay, I know your husband is sleeping, but he easily could have gotten up to get a drink of water, maybe leftover chili if it was there. And you're just at that point where you don't give a fuck. She's clearly the more dominant one in that relationship.
well, they're going through a divorce, right? Or did I just project that onto the movie?
I think you projected that onto the movie.
Okay, because at a certain point, he does like mention, I've been recording you. Again, we'll get to
Yeah.
that.
Well, fuck
But
it. Let's just say it now. He they were having a little argument, him and Barbara, and he does say, if I do find out or if I can prove that you're having an affair with the nanny, I can take Alice away from you. So I think that's where you got it from.
yeah, so like maybe they're going through a divorce. I like thought they were divorced the whole time. Then rewatching it, I'm like, well, no, their dynamic isn't like fully made clear. At least to me. Maybe I didn't like pay attention enough, but it was like kind of gray. Because at first I thought he was Nika's sister. I had to like rewind it twice. Like, who is this guy? Why does he just walk around or walk in here? And why is he flirting with the nanny? I thought he was like just a deadbeat brother.
I mean, he kind of looks the part. He does.
Hmm.
Um yeah, or I mean, at least to me, I didn't think they were going through a divorce. You could just clearly see that they're not in love with each other, and he just seems like, that oblivious husband. I mean, he's knocked out for half of the film anyway. So,
He is,
yeah.
yeah. He's just sleeping all the. He gets up to sleep from gets up from the couch where he was sleeping just to sleep in the bed later.
Mhm. Yeah, he didn't need to be in here. I don't know. Yeah, going down the line, Nika finds Chucky just sitting next to Ian and tries to bring him upstairs to Alice. Gets stuck in the elevator and he fucking chops her leg. Not off, but he does. Does he chop her leg? No, he just cuts her leg because he has a little knife. Chucky has a little knife with him,
I
and
forgot
that
about
that
that.
elevator, yeah, that elevator scene was just funny. I I thought that was a beautiful elevator, but it's the little details that are getting me.
Apparently, they had a lot of issues with that elevator on set. It
Oh, I
wasn't
believe it.
working sometimes. Yeah,
I believe it definitely. It looks so faulty too. Anyway.
they probably. No, I wonder if they built it just for the movie or if it was already in the house. They probably had to have built it. That would have been a nice find.
Yeah, I'm assuming they built it for the film.
Yeah.
And then even once Nika gets out and she runs into Barbara and Alice and then they kind of start talking about her medical condition there. I thought that scene could have been skipped a little bit because
Mm-hmm.
it's like, okay, we clearly see she's at a disadvantage. We're how many minutes into this movie? Why are you guys starting to talk about something here that like if you wanted to bring it up, you could have brought it up in the beginning of the movie. So I thought that was just unnecessary.
Yeah, this is what I meant by like the pacing issues I was having.
Mm,
It like was like, guys, why are we like slowing down so much for like
mm.
characters that they should be more interesting if we're hearing them talk this much about themselves and what's happening in their lives.
Yeah, and I think around this part, maybe a little earlier, was where I was starting to lose interest in watching it again. Just thinking, dang, I said I love this film, and I was going into watching this, and it's been a while since I've watched it. Um, Thinking, I really did love this film, and now I'm starting to not love this film. But I just don't love the second half of this film. There was so much extra fluff in here that really didn't need to be in there. And once we get to the point where they're all trying to go to sleep, most of them anyway, and Jill and Barbara are having their little provocative Zoom call while Barbara is literally in the same bed as her sleeping husband. They literally don't give a fuck about anything happening or anyone finding them.
Barbara's in the same bed. They think that Allison is also in the same bed, but before that happens is when Allison and Chucky are under the covers together, and
Yeah.
it's like storming out. And does Allison like flash a flashlight in Chucky's face to make it look so scary and white? I was like, oh god.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, that
That's
is
where his
this.
face looked horrible.
I like loved it. I was like, that's just the scariest face. Like this under the cover thing. I don't know if it was like the Sixth Sense that it reminded me of, like with the girl puking in the tent, but
Mhm.
or if there was a under the cover scene in that movie. It's been a while since I've seen it, but I like got vibes of that movie, um, watching it. But yeah, that's Chucky's full reveal. A lot of these movies tend to really like the point where things like pivot is centered around like a reveal of Chucky, and well, it wasn't too crazy. I did quite enjoy it for the creepiness.
Yeah, you already have the background of, a thunderstorm outside. This kid is terrified and just hides under her blanket. And all of a sudden, Chucky just looks completely different. He had so many different looks in this film. This is where his face just looks really sunken in, and, he comes to life, starts swearing at Allison. And now okay, well, this is yeah, the pacing is very slow, and even when Jill gets killed, I timed it and that was 50 minutes and 12 seconds into the movie. Like that
Hmm.
was some really slow pacing. Like I know a little they weren't even that slow with the death scenes in the original Child's Play, because you think that Brad Dourif's character is dead in there in the beginning, but he's not. He's not. But then Maggie, she's killed slightly in the beginning, and then the body count just kind of rises at a decent pace. This one, you had the first one in the beginning, and then fucking 50 minutes later, that's when this next kill is. So her death was super boring in my opinion.
Yeah, I wasn't too big of a fan of her death either. This is after, yeah, because she's doing her like weird sex cam thing a couple rooms over from the wife. They think it's like, Barb, you're a bad parent. Like this
Hmm.
nanny's like sleeping in the same room as your kid, and
Yeah,
you're okay with this. It's like so weird. She has like no clothes on. Um,
yeah.
I wasn't too big of a fan, but Chucky, he's there standing. I always love to see him stand. He wasn't on top of anything, but he was standing, and he kicks over a bucket, which gets like a outlet wet that has a cable in it, and it just fries her basically. And yeah, I wasn't too crazy about her death either.
Yeah, I mean, I know they were trying to cut the power in the house, but that could have just gone along with, the storm. They could have,
Chucky could just cut the power.
Or that too, yeah. Her death was just stupid. I didn't like it. But yeah, after that, that's when Barbara and Ian have that little argument because she claims she's gonna go check on Alice, and he's thinking, no, you're gonna go check on Jill, even though Jill is
Hmm.
in the same room with her. So
Even they
then,
were
yeah,
just sex camming her.
exactly. You find out that Ian put a little camera in Chucky's overalls so he can keep an eye on them to see if she is cheating on him or not.
And how was Chucky not aware of this?
Well, I'm sure he knew. He didn't care. He was just, like, okay, I don't have time to fucking prove your point, right? But I mean, he does catch them in the act downstairs anyway, so um
Hmm.
yeah, and at that point too, this is where Nika finds out that Chucky is Charles Lee Ray, and Charles Lee Ray was the guy from that film. Um,
So this is where we get to one of my favorite parts of the movie right here. It's right after Barb leaves the room after arguing with her husband, and right after Nika finds out about Charles Lee Ray, they kind of meet in like the little like foyer, I don't know, whatever you would call it, the like little center of the household area where like the elevator is, but Nika
mhm,
can't get up because the power's out, and they start arguing. Barb's like, "Did you know about the thing inside the doll?" And then it's like a actual like who's on first bit that I like in Bride of Chucky made a joke about mistaking for there being a who's on first bit in that movie. There's an actual who's on first bit in this movie, and I really appreciated it because it's like, did you know about the thing in the doll? It's like,
mhm,
did you know about the thing? It's like, yeah, the thing. What thing? No, the thing. And it's like, one of them is talking about a camera in the doll, and one of them is talking about the soul of Charles Lee Ray being in the doll. And I was just so delighted. That's another scene where I rewound it. I tried to find it on YouTube because I wanted to send it to you, and I kind of want to post it when this episode drops, but I couldn't find it. But goddamn, like that was a very well written argument. Like shout out to Don Mancini.
okay, well, now I can see why they did that because that scene actually annoyed me. I was just thinking, why don't you just say, you know, the doll's alive? I notice every adult when they do notice that Chucky is, well, I don't want to say every adult. Karen, once she knew that Chucky was alive, she flat out said Chucky's alive. In this one, she was just or sorry, Nika, once she found out that, Charles Lee Ray is in the doll, instead of saying, the doll's alive, she just says, put the doll down. You don't understand this and this and this, and it was pissing me off. Just fucking say it. No, they might not believe you, but at least they're not going to go into this blindly. But now that you said that it was more so for that reference, I understand it now, but it still annoys me.
Hmm. But I mean, even Andy in the previous movies was like, It's Chucky. He's a serial killer." And everyone was like, "You're fucking crazy, Andy. Go off into a military school. We hate you. Your third
Yeah,
movie
he
sucks."
tried.
Yeah. No, you don't get a
He
good
tried
third
at least.
movie because you keep complaining about this doll. We're all tired of you.
Yeah, and I just found it funny too because how you were saying earlier, Don Mancini was saying everyone could easily kick Chucky, so let's have a girl in a wheelchair. I was thinking the same shit too. There's a point where Nika fucking bitch slaps Chucky essentially, and no one else can do that. Yeah, we're already at a point where Jill's dead, then you have Barbara with Chucky going up to look for her daughter, and then
In the attic
and she gets a good look at Chucky
for
because
30 minutes, just
yeah.
stares at him for fucking ever. I was like, oh my God, I don't have my face near any object this long.
Yeah, and you see there's something up with his face, and then she starts picking at it, and then you see all of his scarring, which you know I can appreciate that detail, but even in this one, when he takes off all of the makeup that he had on, he looks different. His face looks smaller in some scenes, and I don't know if that was CGI itself, but I did not like it. I like the way he looked in Curse or not Curse, in Bride of Chucky the most. Right when Tiffany stapled them all together, where you thought it looked gross, I thought that's when he looked the best out of this second half of the franchise.
I get it. I wonder if they had to make a new puppet or animatronic for any reason. I know in a lot of bigger movies they change the look of different characters and things for merchandising. So I don't know if that was maybe like Universal, whoever, being like, give him a slightly different look so we can make different Chucky toys that people will buy now. But so I am curious what the justification behind them like not just doing the same thing is. But again, it worked for me in this movie, especially because like he loses his whole body in Seed of Chucky. But then this movie really doesn't make it clear if it's even including Seed of Chucky. There's kind of a Seed of Chucky erasure going on here that I don't really appreciate, that we'll get into at the very end of the movie. But yeah, they don't really make it clear. Like, I mean, he's got the stitches, so it's like it can't be a different body. So yeah, I don't understand why they would choose to change the look. I wouldn't have had an issue if they kept the same look, but I guess I'm just saying like I don't really like share the complaint that I'm sure most people share, because I would be surprised if like people were all around satisfied with this look. People usually hate when things are changed or like slightly different. So I would
Hmm.
believe if the common consensus was we hate this look.
I There are some scenes I could overlook it, but majority of the time I was just sitting there, wow, I hate this. I hate this fucking look on him.
I don't love the way he looks on the cover of Cult of Chucky, so I'm kind of
Oh
worried
god,
about
no.
this. He looks bad, you think?
Yeah, he looks terrible on that.
Yeah. I do want to say too, cuz I went into this one completely blind, unlike any of the other Chucky movie, any other movie we've pretty much covered on this podcast. I went into this one completely blind, and can't say the same about Cult of Chucky, because the commentary with Don Mancini kind of spoiled a little bit of what that movie is going to be. So
Yeah.
it would have been another completely blind watch if I didn't watch the commentary for this one.
You're just too invested in trying to get all the details of.
I'm not going to do that for every movie. These big franchises, I'm going to probably care more about, though.
Okay. But yeah, after Barbara sees that, his scarring and then he comes to life, he fucking he kills her by just cutting out her eyeball, which ew.
He like stabs her really fucking hard in the eye. That kill upset me. I like was really I don't like eye stuff.
I don't either cuz then he steps on it when he goes downstairs. um
Yeah. Uh and Barb's body, I did like Barb's body in the doorway as Nika was watching it from the stairways. This is, I think, where you were talking to another like shot, POV shot of like looking up at something. But
mhm.
we were like looking up at Barb's like body kind of walk around, and that really like kind of chilled me a little bit. These
Mhm.
movies are like pretty effective.
Yeah, definitely. So Nika sees that she's dead. Chucky is now coming after her. She goes to wake up Ian, who had earplugs in his ears, so he was able to sleep through all this fucking commotion going on. So
God,
oblivious.
he does suck. Is this why fucking women hate men, because of the Ians of the world?
Yeah, exactly. I was just about to be like, men, just like any other men, so oblivious, and they just slept through everything.
Mercy, let me ask you this: am I an Ian?
Uh, I don't
Wow,
think so because I feel like
had to
I feel
think
like
about that one.
I did have to think about that one. But I have to think about that about every guy. Um no, I feel like you would be too invested in a situation and kind of overthinking a lot of things because both of us overthink a lot of things. So I feel like you would be really invested in whatever was going on, especially if you were in this situation. I don't know how this guy just was sleeping, knowing damn well he is this close to catching his wife having an affair. So
Well, he's got the camera doing all the work for him. That's why he put the camera in so he can get some shut eye. I do want to say too, I would like to believe that maybe I could be convinced of the serial killer doll.
I think that about a lot of things though. Like I forgot what episode we were on, but I was saying, if something were to happen to me or if I were to witness something and I would tell my husband about it, he wouldn't believe me unless he saw it. And you said you agree, you would need, like that physical evidence. So I don't know if I can believe you on this.
To an extent, because I want to say, I hope I said this in that episode, and hopefully I'm not repeating myself, but I'm going to say it again. Watching Smile, I was like, I could reasonably believe, like, if there's some inexplicable weirdness, if someone, I see something weird on the news, someone like does something outlandish, or one of my friends is like going through something wild or behaving wild, they could reasonably be dealing with a smile monster. You never know.
I
You
think
know,
you did say that actually.
there could be smile monsters out there. You never know what people are going through, Mercedes.
You never do, but that's why I assume the worst of everybody.
Oh yeah, you actually would be someone that could be bought over, I think is what you're saying. Or at
Yeah.
least you would want to be convinced, or you would want people to be convinced if you were going through something.
Yeah,
Would you
but
show me that same respect if I came to you and I was like, "There's a guy with a glove chasing me in my dreams"? Would you be like, "Nick, you're crazy"?
no, I'd probably be like, "Yo, I had a dream like that 2 nights ago."
Be like,
So
"Have you seen Nightmare on Elm Street recently?"
I was actually watching today the kill count of Freddy versus Jason today, so that's funny that you brought that up.
We'll be if we do the Fridays, Friday the 13th, we'll be doing Freddy VJ,
Yeah, I'm not
FVJ, Dawn of Justice.
I actually won't be looking forward to the Friday the 13th movies, but yes, those are some blind spots that we do need to cover. So,
I've never seen him, but I heard one has a James Bond intro, and maybe I'll like it more than any James Bond movie I've ever seen because I don't give a shit about James Bond.
yeah, probably. I never heard anything of that, but I just know after a while the Jason movie sucks or the Jason movies suck.
Ba-ba-na-ba-na-bow. I think that's James Bond, right?
Kind of. You
Maybe.
were off key.
Damn. Well, wow.
That's what you get for leaving me silent for 2.5 seconds 10
I was
seconds ago.
busy playing that song in my head that I just did for everybody. My
Off
mind was
key.
elsewhere. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. If I sing on here, I'm probably going to be off key and it's going to be terrible. And I apologize to the future listeners or
I know.
listeners.
I'm
Jesus
taking the
Christ.
risks. I'm going off the deep end for the lulls, so these listeners can really get some value out of my end of this thing, frankly. But I mean, we talked about this off mic, a little peek behind the curtain again. I was personally nervous going into this one because I was like, I want to do this movie the justice. I want to give the Curse of Chucky fans something to latch on to, and I want Don Mancini to like me.
Jumping back into this because there's not too much left, just to kind of summarize it, and if there's like a big detail that I forget before we get into the real good
Hmm.
stuff, just chime in. But yeah, Nika and Ian, they're looking for Alice. Nika's waiting for Ian while she's in the garage. Chucky pops up out of nowhere. And well, how does Nika pass out again? Like, doesn't she black out or oh yeah, because something happened with her
Yeah.
heart and Ian didn't give her the little injection. But yeah, he ties her up in her wheelchair. He's watching the nanny cam that he put in Chucky's clothes, and that's when he sees Chucky's point of view of everything, where Alice is hiding wherever the fuck he hid her. He sees Jill and Barbara's little affair in the kitchen. He sees himself sleeping, and then it goes to like the live feed, and then Chucky does his death scene, which you said you didn't like, right?
Ian's death scene?
Yeah.
I didn't have much issue with it. I don't really remember much at all, except he gets like an axe to the back, right?
He gets it to like his mouth.
Oh yeah, that is what happens. I remember now. Yeah, that was very gross and upsetting. That
Mhm.
was a lot. I was like, holy fuck, I didn't expect that. Yeah, that
Yeah.
really bothered me. I was like, that looked painful. I hope that never happens to me.
You hope I never get my what was it? The piercing you had?
Oh, the Libre.
The labret piercing. I hope no one ever rips it out. I hope no one ever chops my tongue in half.
I've never,
Like,
no one ever shoves an axe in my mouth
yeah.
at full
um
strength.
yeah, that was gross. I
Yeah,
think I was
Chucky's
more
strong, man.
he
What were you
is, and I think no, I think I was more disturbed with him fucking chopping Nika's leg with the axe, and
saying?
it's just stuck in her leg. And
And I know she
it
doesn't feel it, but it still is just like, God, that like it's almost more upsetting that it's like you can't feel
exactly.
it. Something
Right.
so intense happening to your
Yeah.
body.
That part is so disturbing. And then she fucking decapitates Chucky like nothing after bitch slapping him. He is able to, attach his head back together and comes after her, but goes into this entire fucking explanation on how he had a thing for her mother, and then it just goes to like the video footage.
Well, this is after Chucky pushes her from the second floor down to the first floor.
That was amusing to
I
watch.
was like, is she dead? What the fuck? And she's like, the shot of her falling is like kind of cool and kind of funny too. I liked
That
that.
was hilarious.
Yeah, Chucky's a real fucking menace, man. He's a problem. We got to get this guy off the streets. Are people working on the Chucky problem right now? Like, is who's dealing with Chucky right now as we speak? Where is he? Do we know his whereabouts? And why isn't he in jail?
Because of voodoo, that is why.
Because of Jennifer
um
Tilly.
yeah,
Where are her
exactly.
where are her whereabouts? Does anyone know where Jennifer Tilly is? Lock
We'll
her up
get there.
too.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, like Nika's just face down on the floor, and she's just. Oh, this was the detail that made me laugh because as Chucky comes downstairs, she's just like, "You're Charles Lee Ray," and he says, "My friends call me Chucky." So even he likes to be
Mm.
called Chucky, not
But
Charles.
they
Chucky.
started that off though. You're Charles Lee Ray.
But he corrects them.
You are Charles Lee Ray. And he
But
was
he
like,
corrects them.
yes, I am. Yes, I am Charles Lee Ray. He says.
But he corrects them and wants to be called Chucky. Anyway, so yeah, he goes into the whole flashback of how he knew the mom, he met Barbara, he you know, kind of what I'm assuming was infatuated with the mom. A nice little touch that my husband pointed out too was in the flashback when they're at that little barbecue party thing, whatever. And they show him uh as a human, his sunglasses were Ray-Ban, or Ray-Bans, that brand. So I was like, oh, I like that. Charles Lee Ray-Ban. Like that was cool.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, then he pretty much abducts the mom and is saying, he wants to, be a family with her and her daughters. He stabs her because she called the police on him. This is after you make the assumption that he's killed off her husband.
And there's a deleted scene actually where he abducts her husband.
Right, right. I saw that one. It would have made sense to put that in here.
I don't know if they like clearly explain it or if I just heard in the commentary, but her getting stabbed in the stomach is the reason why Nika is paralyzed.
She says or asks like, "Oh, you did this to me,"
Mhm.
or is it because of you I'm like this or something like that. So yeah, they do have that tiny detail in there. Yeah, so Chucky's saying, I've killed so many people and now I'm going to finish off killing you, and Nika just kind of spins it around and is like, "But you never actually killed Andy Barkley." So, you're kind of left with the loose end there, just taunting him a little bit.
Yeah, she calls it completion anxiety.
Yeah, and apparently that was her whole cycle back to the beginning where she was talking to the porn FedEx guy. Yeah, that I don't know. That explanation was kind of dumb to me, but they have their full-on battle scene. I actually forgot how that part ended.
She gets Chucky in the elevator and ends up
Mhm.
stabbing him, and then
Right.
after she stabs him, Chucky comes back to life for a quick second, and Nika screams, and god, the face that she makes when she screams, this like last shot of her like in the elevator in the house, I fucking loved it. I love a good horror
Yeah.
scream. I love the face that she makes. Shout out to Fiona Dora, like she hit that scream out of the park. And yeah, then the cop runs in, and Chucky had quickly like uh, Toy Storied himself off in the corner, and just like, you know she was like, "It's the doll, the doll did it," and the cop's like, "You're crazy, lady," and carts her off to jail. And there's a deleted scene in here where he's got her in the back of the police car, and he's being a total
Yeah,
dick to her, like,
he
"You're a fucking,"
was.
yeah, he's like, "You're a fucking bitch, lady. There's a special place in hell." And it's like, Jesus Christ, guy, what happened until to innocent what happened to innocent until proven guilty? You're like not being professional at all in this case. Like, you're giving your 2 cents about this whole thing. And he goes on this whole story about how they dismembered the criminally insane in Egypt, and it was basically, it's like, I hope that happens to you. And god, it's like so over the top, but none of that's in the movie, guys.
Because it was so random. I'm happy that part wasn't in the room movie.
Yeah, there's like 6 deleted scenes, and I understand why they cut out every single one. They add a little bit
Mhm.
more like context to what's happening. Like the hide and seek game is explained a little bit more, and the affair, I want to say, has a little bit more going on to it. But it's all stuff that's where it's completely understandable why they cut it out. And also, before we get too far away from this, there's a moment where uh Nika's getting in the elevator and Chucky's chasing her at the end. And Fiona Dorff pointed this out in the commentary. She moves her legs. It's the only part in the movie where she like is caught moving her legs.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Even what was it? There was a scene in there where I think she was checking on Alice or something, and the way she kind of moved back from, because she had only cracked the door open just to, glance in the room. And when she moved away to close the door, it just looked a little too swift, as if she was walking and not rolling. So I don't know. I I found that to be like a little miss on their part too, but I could be overthinking that as well.
Yeah. It 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 must be hard, man. They you mentioned that she played a paraplegic on a Hallmark Channel movie, right? Yeah, she played someone in a wheelchair in a Hallmark Channel show, and that's how she ended up getting uh the role of Nika, because originally she auditioned for Barb.
Maybe I did say that. I know she originally auditioned for Barbara, but I don't know. My memory is ugh, let's not get into that, but
It's been a long episode, but we're rolling near the end of the plot. I did want to say too, to like, you had mentioned people were like wondering, oh, did she only get the role because Brad Dourif is her dad? It's like, guys, she was on True Bloods, and she was in The Master, a Paul Thomas Anderson movie. Like, no offense to like the Chucky franchise, but both of those seem like higher profile gigs than the sixth installment of a horror franchise. Again, like no offense to Chucky or anyone involved in it, but it's like this isn't nepotism. I don't like and also thematically, it's just kind of cool. Like
Mhm.
having like the father, like daughter, like her coming into this franchise. I find it like very endearing. Like M Night Shyamalan, like his relationship with his kids and having them in movies too. Like I find it like pretty endearing. Like why would you not like help your kid out a little bit if you could? It's a fucking impossible industry to break into.
Yeah, and then she does mention too that she had to audition quite a few times before they actually gave her that role.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I thought it was cute because Don Mancini was saying, throughout all of the movies, they saw her grow up essentially because she was on set, visiting her dad. And then for this one, um, whenever Brad Dourif, like he does all of his voiceovers in the beginning of filming, and then he doesn't really have, I wouldn't say much to do, but he doesn't have to be on set anymore after that. But he was on set every day that Fiona was filming, so I thought that was super cute too.
Nice. Did he do on-set line readings with her as Chucky? Usually they have someone off camera who will be doing the line just so the actor has somebody to play off of.
I don't think he did. I think she was trying to get him or someone else to actually say the line when she had her scenes with Chucky with the doll, but they just kept saying no, so they would just keep playing the recording of
Mhm.
Brad Dourif's voice.
One thing I found kind of interesting in just watching supplemental material for this episode in this movie, I was watching a lot of interviews with Don Mancini in particular just to hear what he had to say about this movie. And god damn it, one, he had to be interviewed by a lot of fucking weirdos. There's a lot of weirdos who have YouTube channels like that are around horror movies. Like, sorry, not sorry to YouTubers, but like, don't be weird. Like when you're interviewing somebody. Like people were like holding the Chucky doll and being like really strange with it at times. I was like, okay, guys, like chill out. And then two, the only questions people had to ask of him were fucking shit involving like the first Child's Play movie. It's like, guys, that's so long ago. That's probably so talked about. Like, talk about the movie that he's there to talk about. God, it frustrated me so much. These YouTube horror guys. I felt so bad for him being a part of those. Don Mancini, come on this podcast. Well, you'll be respected. Come on
Yes,
and
please come to ours.
yeah, talk about any movie you want to talk. You don't even have to talk about the Chucky movies. Come review, 28 weeks later with us or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we jump to the better parts of the second half of this film now?
Yeah. Well, we're pretty much at the end. Can like yada yada it real quick. The cop, Nika gets institutionalized. She has a good like last interaction with Chucky in the courtroom, really like losing her shit a little bit. Like, I know it's you. I know it's you. It's like, lady, like you're making it look like you deserve to be where they're sending you. Like you're not really helping your case. But yeah, right after they leave the courtroom, we're in a shot that looks kind of familiar a little bit. There's a
Mhm.
cop walking out with a bag, and I was watching it. I'm like, is this doing Bride of Chucky right now? Is that what we're watching? And spoilers ahead for the movie that we've been talking about for an hour and 25 minutes. Um, they're doing Bride of Chucky. They were doing it. I was correct. And Jennifer Tilly comes out and they basically recreate the her intro in Bride of Chucky. I mean, what did you think the fucking first time you saw all of this? Because I mean, that probably matters more. You're like the diehard Chucky fan. You've been along this journey, like oh, you've been along this journey since like the movies, since like Child Play came out in theaters.
I actually really enjoyed that. Yeah, seeing the whole the cop, walking in the parking lot and he has the bag with Chucky in it. It's like, wait a minute, I saw this already. I'm in the same movie, right? And I'm thinking, okay, well then I guess Jennifer Tilly's coming back, and I just didn't expect her to be in the back seat. But yeah, it was cool. She got to, cut his throat with the little nail file, and then talks to Chucky in the bag. Okay, who's next or whatever she said. And then they show her again in a little post office, and she's getting ready to ship Chucky away, making all of her little jokes.
And I'm like losing my mind at home while all of this is happening. Like, what the fuck? Pointing to my notes because at a certain point I had written down at the flashback scene, what does this mean for Jennifer Tilly and
Right.
Tiffany? And then
Mhm.
I'm like, what the fuck? She's in this holy shit. I'm like trying not to text you as I'm like watching because I'm like, I have to pay attention.
I have to see it all. Yeah, I was just thinking like, wow, okay, so they brought her back in. What the hell is she doing though? Who is she sending it to? Because I didn't know who she would be sending him to. Like, okay, this was a random family, so to speak. Even though there was a connection with them. Yeah, she's just saying all her little cracks, like, oh, my mother always said you can't put a price on love. And even
She's like,
when
you'd be surprised that it's not fragile. Something like
yeah.
that.
Yeah, and even the employee was like, "Do you wanna put insurance on it? It protects you and the recipient or something?" And she's like, "Oh, I doubt that."
Hmm.
And I was like, "Okay, that's a cool little bit." And then,
Post office lady seems like she's over Jennifer Tilly and her fucking shit. She's like, okay, lady, like that's cute.
yeah, I feel like every post office employee is like that.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, she ships it to Alice, and then, Alice is talking to Chucky when she comes home from school. And you would think too that Alice would be kind of traumatized. Her mom and dad are dead and her nanny is dead.
Yeah, why is
And
she cool with Chucky? Chucky scared her under the blanket. Uh,
yeah, she
th-
didn't like that he was swearing.
yeah,
What the hell?
because we really need to talk about this scene in particular because I have questions and I hope Cult of Chucky answers these questions. So Chucky's in the house and he does the voodoo chant on Alice, and then we're about to get into a scene after the voodoo chant. I do want to say though, the fucking jump scare at the end has gotten me every time I've seen it. That fucking rules, like Carrie style jump scare. Like I dig it. Yeah, but Carrie or like yeah, that's the real one. The real end of movie jump scare that comes to mind when I think of an effective end of movie jump scare. But
Mhm.
yeah, this one it gets me every time. But he does the voodoo transfer to Alice, and then we see him later in this post-credit scene, which I'll let you talk all about. I want you to talk about that one. But he's normal Chucky in that scene. So that voodoo chant, I'm like, either they don't understand what they were doing there, and they forgot that he transfers into Alice's body, or he was doing something else there. And I don't know why he was doing that voodoo chant on Alice, but I hope Cult of Chucky doesn't ignore that because I feel like that was strange.
I will leave that for Cult of Chucky to explain. Honestly, because I can't really remember everything from Cult because it's been a while since I've watched it. Let me not spoil that. But yeah, it was a
Mm.
little confusing too because my husband was saying, "Well, then what happened to the girl?" Because the whole point was for him to transfer his body or his soul into her body, and then they go into the next scene. So he was even confused by it, and but it kind of leads into Cult
Mhm.
of Chucky in a way.
They also they don't explain at all what happens to Alice from that under the cover scene. Like, how did she get to her grandma's? Like,
Yeah.
all of that goes unexplained. She like is fully removed from the movie, and it's like they forgot to write anything about her until the very end. They're like, oh fuck, we forgot Alice is in this movie. Um,
Yeah, her character was kind of just so they can have oh Jesus, why are we fucking up our microphones so much? More so me in this episode.
Did you see me drop mine?
Yes, I did. I felt better because I was thinking, okay, finally he messed up and it wasn't just me and my 50 million failed attempts to not hit my microphone.
You know, they didn't know that I dropped the mic.
But they
Until
heard all of the banging around of me hitting my mic.
yeah, you threw me under the bus in that one. You're like, "Fuck, I hit my mic." Also, guys, Nick has been fucking up his mic too.
Because I don't want to be alone in this.
Yeah.
I'm even trying to move away when I laugh because I know I laugh a lot. And then I thought I was doing a good job, but then one time I laughed really loud and I was dead in front of the microphone. So I apologize.
It's okay. It gets smoothed out. The listeners won't even know. They'll be like, What is Mercedes talking about? This has been a flawless episode. No microphones were punched or fisted."
Like, why does this why I got nothing.
Yeah.
um but yeah, it was a little weird with the ending. You're just thinking, okay, well, Chucky finally fulfilled whatever he needed to do
The
of
prophecy has been fulfilled.
yeah, he transfers his soul into another body, and then they have the cool jump scare of, her grandmother just popping up from the basement. That
Fucking,
was funny.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, that was creepy. Yeah, then it goes to, a post-credit scene where they show the fake UPS people and they're delivering a package to none other than Andy Barkley, with the original person Alex Vincent reprising his role.
And
And
we get a good shot of his kitchen and it's still fucked up. It just breakfast everywhere. It's fucking ridiculous. I can't even get over this guy. Even as an adult, just no respect for the fucking staple, the American staple of breakfast.
do you even like breakfast though?
I eat like a protein bar or two.
So see, you can't even speak on the fact that you like breakfast that much that this offends you.
Um, hmm. I like toast. I don't mind toast. Uh,
You can have
yeah.
toast any time of the day and it doesn't have to be breakfast.
Avocado toast, hard boiled egg.
That
Andy
can be
can't
considered
handle
lunch.
he can't handle the mature cuisines that I prepare for
You were
breakfast.
waiting to bring this shit back into it, weren't you?
It didn't come to me till just now.
Good timing. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. You were very passionate about that too.
Had to derail it all because I was like, oh wait, breakfast.
No, no, I liked it, but yeah, I love this scene because right when he's about to open the package, his phone rings and it's his mom talking about his
Yep.
birthday, and then you hear him asking, how's Mike? So we're assuming that she ended up with the detective in the first movie, so that's amazing. And then you see a
Honestly, f- feels like a conflict of interest. Can
what?
he lose his job for that?
Oh.
He's he's dating someone that's directly investigated or involved with a murder case he's investigating. That's a huge conflict of interest.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, Mike, come
That
on, Mike.
Shut up. Like, don't kill the love story. The
I
fans
know.
wanted them to be together. Stop bringing logic into this.
Is that what the fans
Um,
wanted? I was
yeah,
thinking that. I'm
everyone
like,
wanted that.
I was like, what kind of fan service horse shit is this? I loved everything around it,
No,
but Mike, Mike,
no, I was so happy that he said that. Like, okay, they ended up together. Great.
Karen could do better.
Trauma brings people together.
She should be with that homeless guy who gave her the doll to begin with.
Fuck you. Anyway. Anyway, but no, you see the picture of Kyle. He has a picture of Kyle and then a picture of his mom and himself and even his diploma from Kent Academy. I thought all of that was such a cool background setting. And then you fucking see Chucky cutting his way out of the box and he looks up, he looks around, he has like this maniacal little smile, getting ready to do whatever he has to do. And then he turns around and fucking Andy directly has a fucking shotgun aimed at him. I think that's what he had. And then fucking
Mhm.
shoots him. Um
Cut
what
to
an
black.
ending. Yeah, what a fucking ending. He
Yeah.
was ready. He was
Alex
prepared.
Vincent as Alex Barkley, or what's his
Andy
name again?
Barkley.
Andy. I
Andy.
couldn't. Alex Vincent as Andy Barkley. I fucked up
Yeah,
that whole name. Yeah,
it's
and
okay.
it's
I fuck up everything.
that that's a fist punching moment. I was just punching the air. I was like, cool. It would have been better if he pulls out a shotgun and he's like, all right, babe, you ready? And then fucking Kyle comes out too with a shotgun, and then she takes the shot because she's a much cooler character.
Well, you couldn't call her babe. That's his sister.
That's not his sister.
That's his foster
They were
sister, and
foster sisters for like an hour.
they share the dynamic of being a brother and sister.
I don't know. Maybe, or even better, he's got the shotgun out and he's like, all right, babe. And then Shelton walks out. Well, Shelton's dead.
Oh yeah, true. What if
uh,
he had a oh wait, I was gonna say, what if he had a picture of him and Shelton together, but I was like, wait, yeah, he was dead
Shelton
before any of
died.
that could have happened.
God damn it.
Damn it.
God damn it, Don Mancini. Why'd you kill off the best character this franchise had to offer?
I know, shit. Um, but yeah, no, the that was such a great ending. Like, yeah, the movie it had a slow pace in the middle, and to me a lot of excess fluff in there that could have been omitted, but the ending once they brought back Jennifer Tilly and then Alex Vincent, fucking great. I that just pulled it all together for me and made me love the film again.
I know. I give this movie 4 stars. That ending is enough to put it to 4.5. But I was like, that like middle chunk and the characters like still being kind of flat aren't enough to elevate it up there for me. But god damn it, like this is a strong horror entry. This is a strong entry into the Chucky franchise. I don't want to give away my ranking, but yeah, I was being serious when I said this is really making me reevaluate my entire list now, my
Mhm.
entire
Yeah.
ranking of the Charles franchise.
Mhm. Yeah. This one's a really good one. I like it. It's high up there still. I would at least give it 4 stars, 4 solid stars. It's such a good ass movie. I hope you guys watched it already. And if not, I hope this episode makes you want to watch it.
I know. Hopefully, I have a feeling some of these later entry movies, people might be listening to them without actually watching the movie. And if that's the case, I hope we sold it to you guys. Like, go out and watch this thing. I don't know where it's streaming. I own the box set, so that's how I ended up watching it. But however you can, go check this thing out, especially if you had watched I feel like people might have stopped watching after Bride of Chucky or after Seed of Chucky. And if you did that, I can't speak for Cult of Chucky, but go watch Curse, man. It's a rewarding experience. It rewards you as a fan of this franchise. And when I was done watching it, that's when actually like realized like, damn, I think I am a full-on fan of this franchise. Like it's got more hits than misses. I had to really think about my life, to really reflect. Um, but yeah,
Chucky does
I
that to you.
Chucky does. Charles Libre himself. He has touched me in multiple places, um, multiple times.
Yeah, good film, good franchise. We got one more coming, Cult of Chucky, and then also too, I did want to mention, even outside of the Chucky franchise, I did get some feedback from a buddy the other day. He did say he's not a big podcast person, but he's trying to support what we got going here. And he listened to the Green Room episode and was like, I actually really want to watch that film now because it sounds fucking cool. I'm like, dude, please watch it. Like, it was such a fucked up movie. Um, and he was just like explaining everything that we were talking about. So he really got into it. So if we can at least reach him to where it's a person who isn't for podcasts, never even seen that movie, but listened to that episode and now wants to watch that movie. Hopefully he does watch that movie. You know, we're getting somewhere.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Shout out to that guy, whatever his name is.
Let's call him
Nameless listener.
Vlad.
Vladimir. Good old Vladimir.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not Putin. That's not who we're talking about either. Um, but I mean, it might be. Who knows? Maybe awful people listen to this podcast. And are we the ones who should stop them? Maybe. But I
No,
did
we
want
need all the listeners.
I did want to say too, we have 2 more movies left.
Wait, two more. What do you?
The remake as well.
Oh yeah. God, fuck, I forgot
I
about that
know.
one.
That one, I feel like we got to just load it with tangents.
Okay.
That one's going to be
Yeah.
fast and loose. We'll do our Charles rankings too in that one. That'll give us like more beef. That'll be more of our wrap up episode of the whole thing. I am so
Okay.
curious to see what the fuck that thing is though. I feel like it's like almost required viewing at this point since we've been along this ride for so long.
I completely forgot about that too.
About the remake.
Yeah, and I've seen it. I This is going to be interesting watching it again because first time I watched it, I hated it. And then I saw a few reviews on it and one guy, Cody Leach, I love his shit. Guys, go watch Cody Leach. He is actually a good YouTuber. He if I'm not mistaken, him with someone else, he actually liked the remake and defended it. And I'm gonna feel stupid if I got this wrong, but yeah, I think he defended it. So now I want to see if I can look at it from that perspective. I probably still won't like it, but I don't know. We'll see.
What if we did like it? I feel like th- the remakes they're good episodes for us to really just cut loose and do whatever the fuck we want. But I feel like yeah, the completionist side of me, I'm like I've got to fucking see what this thing is and see if it's worth a shit.
Stay tuned, everyone. Will Nicholas like the remake of the Child's Play movie?
Mm. And I meant to say this up top. Guys, if you could rate us 5 stars, leave us a 5 star review on Apple Podcasts, especially. That really helps us out. If you're listening on Spotify right now and you've got an iPhone, please go over to the Apple Podcast app, write us a review, tell us what movies you want to hear us cover, what you like about the podcast. Just you can even just comment to say hi. If we'll maybe even try to read some of them on air, but if you could go over there, do us that favor. It'll help us out a lot. I'm asking you as just someone who really enjoys doing this and wants it to reach more people.
And, if you are a new listener and you just happen to click on this episode or just clicked on a random episode, I hope you enjoy it. And I hope you like all of our little bits, all of our tangents, our descriptions and opinions. I definitely appreciate anyone who comments on our Instagram. We are putting some thought and effort into that too. So, yeah, show us some love if you are enjoying this, and yeah, let's keep the ball rolling here.
Hell yeah, guys. We love the fact that you're listening, and we love the feedback that we've been getting from you guys. Keep listening. Tell your friends if you're enjoying this. We're gonna pay it forward if this thing really grows and becomes more. So, and we want you guys to be included on this growth.
Stay tuned. We are Morbid Curiosities.
Yeah.